Hi there, dear guys and girls. I'm Petra, life coach and advocate for survivors of narcissistic and emotional abuse. Just a quick video today. You know, people can literally suck the life out of you. And it is up to you to make the choice and also take the responsibility of seeing who you allow to have access into your life. This is so important. You know, when we have been discarded by the narcissist, when we have taken the initiative to leave the relationship ourselves, we are going to go through the stages of grief. Because don't forget that you loved from that authentic part of yourself. You truly loved this person. So it is natural to go through the grieving stages. And so often, us as targets, as survivors, tend to push against reality. We tend to stay in a state of denial. We don't want to see the abuse for what it really is, and we think that we can keep giving these abusers a second chance and a third chance. But just remember to allow yourself to have those emotions, to have those feelings. You know, every single emotion and feeling that you have felt has all led up to this moment. So everything, every situation from your past has led up to this moment. And there comes a point in life where we have to start making decisions, not just based on logic, but also adding our emotions and our feelings to the mix. And our intuition. I think that is the most important one, to add our intuition into the mix and start to make different choices for ourselves. So we go through certain stages of grief, and it is so important to allow yourself to go through these stages. The first one would be denial, where we push against the reality, as I just said. We tend to not want to believe it. We push and push and push against it. Then comes the rage, which we've all been through. You know, the video I made a while back about allowing your anger to be there, allowing it to surface, and allowing yourself to work through that anger, because you have every right to be angry at the situation that you were subjected to, the abuse that you endured. So anger is very valid, you know, and it's not about letting that anger take over and let you do as well, you know, do destructive things, but it's about allowing your anger to guide your anger in a very constructive way, because anger is a very powerful force. And you can use it both ways. You can use it in a very destructive way or in a very constructive way. So when you look at that anger, you will find that beneath that there is a lot of pain and a lot of sadness, because it is so easy, and I can relate to this myself. It is so easy to show anger to people because anger allows us to be in control. It allows us to be sassy. It allows us to have this attitude. But really, if we take the time to sit in that anger and get into conversation with it, you will find that there is a lot of sadness and a lot of hurt and a lot of pain that is going on there. So allow yourself to go through that stage. And when you have uncovered that, yes, you will find the sadness. Allow yourself to go through the sadness. It is so important to feel the hurt, not try to cover it up, not try to douse it in alcohol or in food or in drugs, but allow the sadness to be there. Because what is going to happen after the sadness, that will be the acceptance stage. And acceptance is really when you stop resisting and you find the lesson. You find the lesson in this very abusive relationship that you went through. And, you know, it's very difficult when we are in narcissistic relationships. We go into survival mode. And when you are in survival mode, you shut down every other emotion. So when you are coming out of narcissistic relationships and you have started on your journey of healing, It's about de-numbing yourself. It's not about surviving anymore. It's about learning how to construct your life all over again and how to live, to truly live to your full potential. That is what healing is about. It's discovering your truth. It's speaking your truth. It's being okay with your truth. And it's also, you know, when you know who you are as a man or as a woman, when you truly know who you are and you tap into that pristine part of yourself, the part of yourself that is yours, it is completely yours, where no one is allowed to come in, no one is allowed to leave their toxicity there, no one is allowed to bring down your goodness, your gratitude, your wonderful, warm and loving side. That is the pristine part of you. And when you truly know who you are, when you have redefined who you are as a man or as a woman, then you will find that you will no longer tolerate abuse. So what I'm trying to say is, let every emotion have center stage. Let every feeling have center stage. And allow yourself to work through those emotions and feelings. Write out what you're feeling. Write out your emotions. Discover what it is underneath those emotions that is causing you so much distress. Because it's not always about what has happened to us. In fact, it's never about what has happened to us. Because we have several choices. You know, if you can feel rage, then you can feel contentment. If you can feel sadness, then you can feel happiness. So there is always an opposite feeling to what we are feeling at this present moment. Do not think that what has happened in your past is going to define your present and your future. You get the chance to work through that. So just remember that every emotion is connected. Every single emotion, every single feeling, every single situation is connected. And when you allow yourself to look at that and go through those stages of grief, when you stop resisting, that is when you will be at peace. Because acceptance is the final stage of grieving. And acceptance is also, there's got to be indifference as well, where you can talk about what happened in your life without having those very raw emotions attached to it. So that is when you know that you have reached a milestone in your healing, is when you get to the acceptance. And don't rush to get to that to the acceptance. It'll come when you are ready, as long as you work through all the stages of grief and release the feeling of wanting to be in control, because certain things you just cannot control. You have to let them be as they are. And again, when you have accepted, that is when you get the lesson. Now, what is the lesson? There is always a lesson. You know, if we are open to that fact and we allow ourselves to look at that, there is always a lesson involved in abusive relationships. My lesson was that I did not honor that pristine part of myself. I let people come in and mess it up and pour toxicity into it. I allowed people to cross every single boundary, and that was because I didn't know what my boundaries were. I had not established them. So it is about that. That was my lesson, is learning to say no, which is really a yes to yourself, was learning to set boundaries, was learning to say, I will not tolerate any more of this very toxic behavior in my life anymore. So take care of yourselves. Remember that grief is very real, and grief is something that you have to go through when you have left toxic relationships. Give yourself the time, have compassion for yourself, and just know that you will get to the other side of this if you're willing to put in the inner work. So take care of yourselves, and speak to you all next time. Bye for now.